Texas Senator Ted Cruz, member of the Judiciary Committee, author of Unwoke, is with us. Good to see you, Senator. Thank you.
Great to be back.
Is this possible to fix through legislation, or does this require the White House to change the rules about what happens once illegal immigrants get to the United States?
Well, the thing that broke it was action by the administration. And it's worth understanding, when Joe Biden came into office 3 years ago, he inherited the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. Donald Trump had done an extraordinary job securing the border. I worked hand in hand with him to do that, and we were seeing incredible success. Joe Biden unilaterally broke that system, and the way he did so was 3 decisions he made the opening week in office. Number 1, he immediately halted construction on the border wall. Number 2, he reinstated the disastrous policy of catch and release. And number 3, he pulled out of the incredibly successful Remain in Mexico agreement. That caused this crisis.
Texas has gone on its own and said, we're going to start putting up barbed wire. They have this law now that if you've been here only 6 months, Texas is going to deport you and sort of usurp federal law and try and get a handle on things inside Texas. I've been down there. There's no question it's a crisis in a terrible situation. This is the question. I understand what Texas is trying to do. But if under, say, a Trump administration, Gavin Newsom orders the California Highway Patrol, after passing a law, to block the Border Patrol from stopping people coming across and give caravans to illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities in California, I'm guessing you would have a problem with that. Well,
because you're defying federal law. In this instance, what Texas is doing is entirely consistent with federal law. It is Joe Biden who's defying federal law. And so it's qualitatively different, because the federal immigration laws are passed by Congress and signed into law. Listen, Texas would rather not have to do this. They'd rather the federal government do its damn job. The reason Texas is acting, and I salute Texas, the governor, the legislature, for stepping up and trying to solve this crisis, is because the Biden administration created the crisis and they want it to happen. The amazing thing, Leland, Joe Biden could fix this today. Right. If he simply decided, when we apprehend someone, we will deport them, the numbers would plummet. He doesn't want to. He wants 9.6 million to be 20 million, to be 30 million. And he's willing to overlook enormous suffering. You know,
you make a good point, and that is that this is not the failure of policy. This is the policy.
Yes,
and until the policy changes, nothing's going to change. Okay. I want to get you to the Judiciary Committee. This is going to end up in the courts. Yeah. And President Biden has now started, I think you would agree, to appoint folks of a certain political persuasion and viewpoint, as Donald Trump did, to the judiciary. You had some questions today in committee for a Circuit Court of Appeals nominee. Take a listen.
Political programming was at the very core of this organization Mr. Monge was involved in. In May of 2021, the center held an event called, quote, the 100 Years War on Palestine Teach-In. A Jewish news syndicate opinion piece entitled, quote, Hamas apologists slander Israel at Rutgers Teach-In described the event as, quote, terrorist whitewashing webinar. Look, it is an amazing thing, the kind of people Joe Biden is nominating to his administration, and especially to the federal bench. I've said something several times that is still, I think, amazing. Joe Biden has managed to do something I thought was impossible. He's made me miss Barack Obama. Listen, I disagreed with Obama on practically everything. But by comparison, if you look at Obama's judicial nominees, they were not nearly as extreme as the Biden nominees.
Well, to fair to say, both sides have become more extreme.
So I don't think that's accurate. I understand the
oh, come on. Donald Trump is a lot farther to the right in some policies in his nominees than, say, George W. Bush.
Well, actually, pause and think. I would agree with you on rhetoric, that Trump's rhetoric is pretty fiery and out there. But if you actually look at the substance, all right, let's take, for example, Democrats love to say Trump is a dictator. Really, what did he do in 4 years when he was a dictator? He didn't do what Joe Biden has done, which is weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI to go after his political opponents. He didn't do what Joe Biden has done, which is utterly ignore federal law and allow an invasion on our southern border. He didn't do as Joe Biden has done, which is defy federal law, do things like have COVID vaccine mandates.
Because when Donald Trump was president, you had a tough re-election fight. I remember covering it with Beto O'Rourke. You're going to be up for re-election again. How do you think the current presidential race plays into that?
Well, listen, it's going to be hot and contested, and Chuck Schumer has made clear I'm his #1 target in the country. So I fully expect the Democrats to spend $100 million coming after me this year, trying to defeat me. My last race, I won by less than 3 points. So I want to encourage all your viewers, go to tedcruz.org, tedcruz.org, tedcruz.org. Make a contribution. We are at a time where our country is deeply divided, and we're in a battle about which direction to go.
If things are so bad as you point out, especially about the issue of immigration, especially in Texas, why is this even a race in Texas?
Well, because Texas, like the rest of the country, is divided, and it's just the realities of math. I think we're going to win in Texas, but unfortunately, we are really polarized right now, and the dynamic that happens is the left listens to left-wing news, the right listens to right-wing news. We don't talk to each other. We don't have conversations. We scream and yell. And if someone disagrees with you, you unfriend them on social media. I think we ought to be talking to each other more.
And that's why we're glad you're here on NewsNation. We hope it's a place for everybody to talk.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.